America is one of the most powerful countries in the world, but even powerful nations can face danger when leadership decisions create division, instability, or global tension. In recent years, many people have questioned whether Donald Trump's decisions have put the United States at risk, and what the effects of his rule could look like in 2026. To understand this, we must look at politics, democracy, the economy, foreign policy, climate decisions, and everyday life for ordinary Americans. Let's begin with democracy and political stability. Donald Trump's leadership style has always been aggressive and confrontational. Supporters see this as strength. Critics see it as a threat to democratic norms. One of the biggest concerns is the growing distrust in elections, courts, and government institutions. When large groups of people stop trusting democratic systems, a country becomes deeply divided. Political polarization in the United States has increased dramatically. Families, communities, and even state governments are split into opposing sides. This level of division weakens national unity. When unity is weak, it becomes harder for a country to respond to crises, whether economic, military, or social. Another concern is the expansion of executive power. Strong leadership can be effective, but when power is concentrated too heavily in one office, checks and balances may weaken. Experts warn that democracy does not collapse overnight, it erodes slowly, through repeated challenges to institutions and laws. Now let's talk about foreign policy. America's global power depends heavily on alliances. Under Donald Trump, U.S. relationships with longtime allies have become more tense. His America First approach prioritizes national interest over international cooperation. While this appeals to many voters, it can isolate the country on the global stage. There have been controversial statements and actions regarding NATO, climate agreements, and territorial discussions that alarm allies. When allies lose trust in the United States, global stability is affected. This can encourage rival nations to expand their influence, increasing the risk of conflict. Foreign policy uncertainty can also affect national security. Strong alliances help prevent wars. Weak alliances make the world more unpredictable. Next, let's examine the economy. Trump's economic policies focus on tariffs, trade protection, and domestic manufacturing. Supporters argue these policies protect American workers. Critics argue they raise prices and hurt global trade. Tariffs can make imported goods more expensive. When costs rise, consumers pay more for everyday products like food, electronics, and fuel. Businesses facing uncertainty may delay investments, slowing economic growth. Another major concern is pressure on independent institutions such as the Federal Reserve. Financial markets rely on stability and predictability. When political influence threatens economic independence, investor confidence drops. This can lead to inflation, market volatility, or even recession. Now let's talk about climate and environmental policy. Climate change is not just an environmental issue, it is an economic and security issue. Decisions to withdraw from international climate agreements reduce America's leadership in clean energy and innovation. Other nations move ahead, while the U.S. risks falling behind in future industries. Extreme weather events cost billions of dollars and threaten infrastructure, agriculture, and public health. Ignoring climate risks today can create far greater dangers tomorrow. Let's move to domestic security. There is growing concern about the use of federal power and military forces in domestic situations. When military or law enforcement authority is used in politically charged situations, it raises questions about civil liberties. A democracy depends on peaceful disagreement. If fear and force replace dialogue and law, social stability begins to crack. History shows that internal conflict weakens nations more than foreign enemies. Now, how do these decisions affect everyday Americans in 2026? Many people may experience higher living costs, job uncertainty, and reduced trust in institutions. Healthcare, education, and social programs can be impacted by budget priorities. communities already struggling may feel the effects more strongly. At the same time, Trump supporters argue that his leadership protects borders, strengthens national identity, and challenges political elites. This is why the country remains deeply divided, not just over policies, but over values and vision. So, is the United States in danger? The answer is complex. America is not collapsing, but it is under pressure. The real danger lies in division, weakened institutions, and loss of global trust. A nation becomes vulnerable when its people stop believing in shared rules, shared truth, and shared future. The year 2026 may become a turning point either toward renewed stability or deeper conflict. The future of the United States will depend not only on one leader, but on how its people, institutions, and values respond to the challenges ahead.